Hi guys. So my name is Millicent. Everybody kind of introduced me already. I'm actually one of the just graduated Penn Fellows, 9 and 10 in here at Brookdale. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I'm actually from Nigeria. I was born in Africa. I came here when I was 8, and I was actually raised in Brooklyn. So I'm a Brooklyn native. And I went to high school here, middle school. And a lot of my community members look just like me. So very familiar with like my mentors and like a lot of my friends. I went away to Duke University for undergrad, and it was a bit of a cultural shock seeing people who didn't look like me. Whereas, of course, as smart as I was, but just like look differently. And so going from there to doing Teach for America, and then going to University of Rochester School of Medicine, and realizing that I really wanted to be a doctor. I've always known I wanted to be a doctor, but a lot of the doctors I've met along my way in education didn't look like me. They didn't sound like me. They had nothing in common with me. And so I made it a duty for myself to get mentored by folks who look like me and those who didn't. And try to make it almost like a life goal of mine to always be like a lifelong mentor. And then try to put into those who didn't have as much as I did when I was growing up. I grew up poor. I grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. I didn't have much of anything. And my biggest goal in life was to not struggle and not live day to day. And so just kind of going from that kind of mindset to knowing that like if I ever got a chance to be a doctor, I want to make sure that people who look like me have the same opportunity. And the patients that I serve who may look like me could see almost an example of who they can become like. So I did my pediatric residency at Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. And then I went back downtown. I was actually an attendant for a year at Harlem Hospital in the PZR. And then I took a leap of faith and applied for PEM. And I went to interview at Maimonides, and Dr. Escala, Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Arroyo, Dr. Zerzan were actually those I interviewed with, and I fell in love, like instant love. And if you know me, you know I'm contagious, but I also fall in love with a lot of people. But it takes a lot to kind of draw my interest. And I really, really, really loved Mimo. It's like, I don't know, it's like the first time I met Vasquez and Riscala, I couldn't stop smiling. I sat in the office and laughed, and I was like, this is like family. Like, it felt like family. And I think when you find a place that you can work and also feel like there's a family, you've won. And so I started my fellowship here at Maimonides, and I'm actually it's my number one. And I got my number one, and I was so blessed and so happy and thankful. And over the past 3 years, while I was a fellow here, I've met so many different cultures, so many different patients, people of different socioeconomic statuses and different ethnicities, and realizing that Maimonides is actually just like JFK. If you've been in New York, you know, it's just like JFK. It's like so many different nationalities, but everybody's there for a purpose, their reason, and everybody's there because they need some kind of help. And I think knowing that in your mindset, knowing that people who look like me or don't look like me still need the same kind of help. But I did take a liking to try to mentor folks. So Sarah Fowler was actually a 4th-year medical student. I met her when she was rotating through Maimonides, and me and her kind of became friends. And it was almost like I kind of like sort of mentored her, but when she came here as a first resident, I was super excited to see her. Because to be honest, so another person who looks like me, who I can mentor and also kind of great. So I'm just like being able to graduate right now and being an attendant of the other end and seeing how my path has become medicine. I'm no longer full-time at Maimonides. I'm actually just per diem. I work full-time at Brookdale Medical Center, which is actually in the inner city part of Brooklyn, who serves a community of majority 90% African Americans and some Latinos. But I take my time to still reach out and diversify. And diversity and inclusion is actually one of my biggest life goals, even if it means that I'm doing it in my personal time. Like right now, I'm supposed to be working, and I took a break because this is important for me. So I'm so glad to see this committee kind of come to fruition, and I know it's going to go far. And a lot of you guys who are actually joining this session today, this is a huge opportunity. And seeing, I think a lot of the residents who put in their legwork into this actual committee, and I'm super excited to be part of this. Even I'm not going to really ever leave Mimo, ever, 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 ever. So, but I'm so excited that like this is actually coming to fruition. And you know, if I get a chance to meet anybody who's actually part of this interview trail or just trying to get to know my mom bees, if you have any questions, I'll leave my email address. Ask me. I'm an honest person, and I'm going to tell it like it is. But to me, I fell in love with Mimo. I never fell out of love. So I hope you guys get the same opportunity as well. Okay, so that's it.